We're ready whenever you are.
Good evening and thank you for attending tonight's City Council meeting. For those who are attending remotely, the camera in the council chambers is set up to show those attending in person tonight. The platform we are using has a raise hand feature. You will notice a picture of a hand in the upper right hand corner. When we reach the point in the meeting where the public has the opportunity to address council, you can click the button and be given your opportunity to address council. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Skelly,
Here.
Councilor Dilaba,
Here.
Councilor Fisher,
Here.
Councilor Kennedy, here, Councilor Powers,
Here.
Councilor Reish,
Here.
Councilor Scamperly,
Here.
quorum present.
We have one presentation tonight from Director of Planning and Development, Andrea Smith, regarding the Brownfield Opportunity Area update.
Council, while Andrea makes her way down to the podium, she's going to present the initial proposal for action that we've got from our vendor to start working on the marketing strategy for the brownfield properties. There's a couple little additions that we've added, and Andrea will go over those in relation to some immediate detailed marketing on the Diamond property that we want to do. We've had some inquiries from local vendors, so we want to be able to respond to that as quickly as we can without impacting the schedule and the plan that the contractor has laid out. So give it to Andrea.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As the city manager just indicated, about a month ago, we presented the initial proposal from Vita Nova to work on the city's pre-development BOA grant that we received in 2019 from New York State to do a very broad and wide-reaching inventory update of our brownfield inventory and marketing of our brownfield properties to a nationwide market or industry. And we received 2 proposals to our request for proposals, and those were presented to you, and we selected Vita Nova and along with the team that they had put together to do that work on our behalf. And subsequent to awarding that to Vita Nova, we've received a number of inquiries on the Diamond National property in particular. And so in an effort, as the city manager just stated, to respond promptly to those requests for information and to kind of hopefully expedite getting this officially for sale, we have asked Vita Nova to update their proposal to expedite an RFP, a request for proposals specifically geared towards advancing marketing efforts for the Diamond property. So we will be continuing our broader marketing approach for the entire 330-acre brownfield opportunity area in keeping with our grant award from New York State. But in addition to that broader effort, we're going to take a parallel step to specifically develop a marketing strategy and plan for the Diamond property individually. So the larger plan will continue to move forward and we'll continue to meet our milestones for that grant. And then additionally, we'll be developing a separate, more expedited request for proposals specific to the Diamond property. So we're looking at having that out available to the public in early July, and then be receiving those bids back in early September. So we'll be looking forward to presenting the outcome of that to council. We are taking an approach that's different than the city has taken in the past. We aren't targeting this towards any particular type of development, so we'll be accepting all types of proposals, whether that's a proposal to do open space or a proposal to do commercial and industrial or to do residential development or anything in between. We aren't going to narrow that down and tell people what we're looking for. We're going to accept any and all proposals so that we can see what's out there and present those back to council.
So it would be The RFP would go out July 1 and proposals would be due September 1.
That's mid-September is what's in this proposal. Yes. It's based around holiday schedules so that it gives the development community ample time to respond, to get it out to a very broad spectrum of developers and get a full response back.
Good. Let's hope they're successful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Thanks.
We have one public hearing tonight. It is regarding an ordinance to amend the official city map to dissolve the remaining portion of Paper Hayward Street, measuring approximately 60 feet by 103 feet between Paddock Street and John Street. It's going to be bill number 24, and I will open that to public hearing up now. If anyone's attending, would like to, well, first, anyone would like to come down to the podium? Or if anyone's attending remotely, use the raise hand feature.
I do not see any hands raised.
Okay. And I'll declare this public hearing closed. And at this time, we have personal appearance. At this time, anyone attending in person would like to address city council, please come down to the podium. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Via this letter, as citizens of Ogdensburg, thus essentially your bosses, we call for the immediate termination of city manager for the following reasons.
We're not going to have that, Cindy.
Excuse me,
No,
but
you're
would
not.
someone stop my
No,
clock?
we're not going to
Um,
talk about personnel.
So our only option to speak, since we are blocked on social media, and when we
You can
call
talk
you, we
about
get hung
city
up
issues,
on.
Not about personnel, Cindy.
The personnel is paid for by us taxpayers. Therefore, we have the right to express our concerns.
Only we can address it.
We're a
We're not
taxpayer,
going to address any personnel.
so
Any personnel.
we have been blocked on social media. We get hung up on when we do call you. We've been refused a town hall meeting to voice our
Never called me,
concerns. Other people have called you
Oh, I
and you,
thought we
when
met
you,
you
when you
also.
hear, I wouldn't call you. I have nothing to say to you. Okay? It's good. So, but when we do call you, if it's not what you want to hear, you hang up on us. Okay?
Just one-
Yeah, you do. No,
Just one-
you do.
Let's follow the rules and not have
So
back and forth
following the
of,
rules,
Yes.
who follows? You want to follow the rules?
City, we're not here to be lectured to.
I'm just saying that as
If you
a
wanna give
citizen,
presentation to the council,
we
please do.
want to voice our concerns. We're only looking for transparency. That's it. And freedom of speech, which has been taken from us. So because you're conducting mayoral business on Facebook and blocking people. That is a violation of our First Amendment rights. Okay? So, yeah. So we want the decency and governing that we deserve. That's all. That's all I want to do, is just speak for 140 other citizens that have something to say to you. And if it's not what you want to hear, you dismiss us and you block us. And not only that, but you're refusing to sit in front of us for a town hall meeting. We just want transparency. Okay, we have concerns over our city manager's qualifications, his actions on social media, and
We're
we
not
would
gonna
like
talk
for
about
him to
the
be
city manager.
dismissed. I would like it
We're
clear,
not going to talk about. the
and
manager.
that our First
Cindy.
Amendment rights are being violated by me not being allowed to read this letter, which, by the way, Margaret was instructed by you to hand to the city clerk for correspondence. Correspondence comes up, nothing. No correspondence. This letter is from the people that voted you in, okay? So you're going to deny me the ability to express my rights as a citizen? tax-paying citizen who pays the salary of
We
the
don't
city
talk about
manager?
personnel.
Yes or no?
We don't talk about personnel.
Oh, okay, okay. It's question and answer session, okay. All right, well,
For the record, I've been lectured many times by citizens, and
mhm.
I can remember other city managers being lectured by citizens. And it's just a part of it's politics.
It's
It's who we are. It's a democracy. And
Right,
people
and we have the
democracy.
right to express our concerns, and when we're blocked and hung up on, this is our only forum.
It's the epitome of democracy. That's why it's
That's
the
what
First Amendment.
democracy is all
You're the
about.
one that adopted the administrative regulations and the rules that were.
Just so you know, the whole
And
time
she ought to
you're
be able to
talking,
talk.
you're taking up my
Right.
5 minutes, so.
Mhm.
We won't let this go, just so you know. Okay.
Thanks. Cindy. Is there anyone else who'd like to talk?
Blasphemy.
I would like to state for the record what I have to say is about the leaders of this community, not individuals. This community is going to move forward in a positive direction. Okay. The attitude of our present leadership needs an adjustment sooner than later. The tactics used by the so-called leaders in the name of restructuring to build, and I'll quote, a better Ogdensburg. They divide the city and cause rifts whenever we find a wedge. You tear apart City Hall by causing the vacancies of positions held by competent, honest people. You tear apart the charter, provide no fiscal transparency, fail to be accountable for your own actions. You deny free speech. You ridicule citizens in council meetings and online. You demolish the recreation department, then we're going to rehire a new director. You tear apart the police department, unconscionably tear apart the fire department. We're using a young father and a family as a pawn to satisfy your need to win points. You try to hold the OBPA hostage by backing them in a corner in the media. You try to alienate the rescue squad. You demolish the library. You're content to control the school district and the county legislators. You try to publicly humiliate any private citizen who speaks up. Some of the facts you say are misrepresented, even when you face with evidence to the contrary. And then you're ignorant enough to advertise the misinformation for the world to see and laugh at us. And through all of this outright delinquency, you unbelievably attempt to look benevolent. Meanwhile, you have followed through and completed zip other than destruction. This is not the leadership this community needs. The citizens of Ogdensburg realize the need for cutbacks, the need for change, the need to bring in business and tourism. The current majority did not invent that concept. Change is difficult. Laying off employees is difficult. Restructuring is difficult. But it needs to be done with competency, finesse, kindness, and dignity. Not with the divisiveness of vengeance, pettiness, anger, and underhandedness. Sadly, I do not believe the miscreants using these tactics have the mental or emotional capacity to understand the damage they're doing. Folks, it's not about money. It's not about politics. It's not about egos. It's simply being decent human beings. Let's try it.
Thank you, Doug. Is there anyone else like to speak?
I have a few things on my list. A letter that I just want to make sure that everybody has heard. Dear Mayor Skelly and the Ogdensburg City Council, on April 7th, the Jefferson, Lewis, and St. Lawrence Counties Central Trades and Labor Council unanimously reaffirmed a resolution that had been unanimously endorsed by the council's executive committee on March 3rd regarding negotiations between City of Ogdensburg and International Association of Firefighters Local 1799. Our council adamantly opposes the downsizing or elimination of IAFF Local 1799, as such action certainly has the long-term potential to compromise firefighter occupational health and safety. On average, staff reductions nationwide have led to firefighter fatigue, which in turn has contributed to increased accidents, injuries, and other occupational hazards related to incidents. The Jefferson, Lewis, and St. Lawrence Counties Central Trades and Labor Council supports IAFF Local 1799. Our council encourages the city, the city to continue to explore other cost-saving measures that will not compromise the health and safety of union members and the members of IAFF Local 1799 in particular. Firefighter health and safety should be a priority for every city in our great state, and we hope that it will remain yours. Sincerely, Jason Clark, Recording Secretary of the Jefferson, Lewis, and St. Lawrence Counties Central Trades and Labor Council, AFL-CIO. Another subject, the beach, which I know has come up a few times. I just put a few questions out there that are apparently rhetorical because we won't be getting an answer tonight, but things please to consider. How much is a lease? How much to prepare it? Note that waste is being dumped into that area as recently as last week. And if the plan is, as I understand it, weekends beginning July 1st. So this summer that would be kind of thinking of probably 9 weekends, maybe 8 hours a day for those 2 days of the weekend. It's about 144 hours of use for whatever is the answer to the previous questions, the cost of the lease, etc. And this doesn't even include the monies for the preparation of the beach, insurance, employees, all those other questions that have come up that we as a group haven't heard satisfactory answers to. It just doesn't make sense to lease a beach rather for 144 hours of use this year at least. Because remember, we're heading towards bankruptcy, according to our city manager. Another thing, according to the Observer Dispatch article that was written by Christopher Magg, who's a USA Today network columnist, Ogdensburg is tiny and desperately poor. Not so sure we need a beach or money's put into a beach when we're tiny and desperately poor. The city manager has ordered the elimination of the recreation department, so I'm not sure, and that's just among other things, so I'm not sure how we would have it manned and staffed. Not likely volunteers would take that responsibility, although I'm grateful for volunteers in the community, so please people continue to volunteer. And a quote says, 15 miles in each direction, there's no question that property is moving near the river. The problem in Ogdensburg is that virtually every street has a crack house or meth lab on it, or 2 or 3 or 10. This is in written by a national journalist. So what's our plan now? To have a beach, or maybe we should be putting our money to make it a priority to address the 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 drug places that we have on every street in Ogdensburg. I think our monies would be way better spent, even if it's just money we would spend for 144 hours of use at the beach. So shouldn't our city council be focusing on that? And then to hear that in the paper about all of the negative, all the drug houses, the meth labs that we have in the city of Ogdensburg, that's, besides very sad, I'm pretty sure it's not exactly true. Although I know it's a problem. I think we all acknowledge that it's a problem, sadly. But especially in this day and age, I think that our management of the city, instead of an invitation for other people from outside to come because we have drugs here, and that's a big draw, it also draws crime and violent crime. It kind of invites robberies, other kinds of violent crime. I think we need to really have monies directed at an existential problem that we have as identified by, in that article by our city manager about the drugs that we have as a problem versus a beach. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anyone else like to speak? So if anyone's attending remotely, please use the raise hand feature.
I do not see any hands raised.
Um,
Your Honor, 2 hands just came up. Would you like?
okay, yes, please.
Okay. The first individual is registered as Valerie Sobey, and I will unmute that individual now. It appears your line is open.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I just have a quick question. I noticed recently that there have been job postings for a recreation director, and I also saw recent job postings for lifeguards and a few other positions. And I just wondered, I know it was mentioned at a very recent city council meeting, I think within the last month or so, that there's a hiring freeze. And I wondered if the council is going to be formally voting to lift or suspend that hiring freeze.
The hiring freeze was opposed by the city manager, and I've lifted it for those positions.
Thank you.
Anyone else, Kathy?
Yes, the next individual is registered as Gregory McNamara, and I will unmute that individual now. It appears you are self-muted. Mr. McNamara, it appears you are self-muted. Would you like me to move on, Mayor?
Yes, please.
I do not see any other hands raised.
This brings us to correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
We have one letter. Greetings from the veterans. VFW Post 2936 and American Legion Post 69 have decided that this year, due to the COVID-19, the Memorial Day event will be the same as last year. We will not have a parade or throw a wreath into the St. Lawrence River. On Memorial Day, May 31st, 2021, there will be a brief ceremony at 11 a.m. at the Veterans Plot of the Ogdensburg Cemetery with 15 people attending and observing all recommended precautions in effect at the time. While not officially open to the public, people can watch from a distance in the cemetery as they did last year. In the event of stormy weather, the ceremony will be held at the VFW building. The mayor and one other city official are cordially invited to attend and present a wreath. After the ceremony, there will be soup and sandwiches at the VFW post on Champlain Street. Please let me know who is attending so I can make plans and notify the paper. You can contact me at the American Legion, Post Office Box 1454, Ogdensburg, New York 13669, or call me at 315-393-7904. Thank you. I hope next year things will be back to normal. I have started making plans to hold a 5K walk run in the fall, maybe September or October. I hope the Dubisky Center will be available then. Alan Mooney.
May 31st at 11 a.m.
That's correct, sir.
Next, we have our consent agenda that the claims as enumerated in the general fund warrant number 09-2021 in the amount of $710,945.78 and library warrant number 09-2021 in the amount of $8,379.16 and capital fund warrant number 09-2021 in the amount of $8,265 and community development fund warrant number 09-2021 in the amount of $75.98 and community renewal fund warrant number 09-2021 in the amount of $10,662.81 as audited be and the same hereby are ordered paid. I so move.
Second then.
Any discussion?
Just a couple questions. I don't know if you can answer them right now, Steve. On the payout sheet, PMA companies, we had a $7,000 payout. I didn't know what that was. It's right on the first page of the payouts, about halfway down, 5523.
I believe it was. Yes, that is.
Council, that's PMA is our adjustment firm that handles claims to the city. That was a payout on a claim with a motor vehicle accident involving a DPW vehicle that was paid out.
Thank you. And the other one was Watertown Garden Center and Landscape for $1,600. I'm just wondering what they did. It's right second from the bottom on that page.
Trees.
Spot trees. They bought trees.
We bought.
Okay.
Kathy, would you call the roll?
Mayor Skelly,
Yes.
Counselor Dilaba,
Yes.
Counselor Fisher,
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy,
Yes.
Counselor Powers. You're muted, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Counselor Reish,
Yes.
Counselor Scamperly,
Yes.
approved.
We do not have any appointments tonight, and this brings us to items for council action. Our first item of business will be read by Director of Planning and Development, Andrea Smith.
Thank you. Just one point, the tree purchase, which I was hoping someone was going to ask. $1,000 of that will be reimbursed with a tree planting grant.
I figured that we probably had grant money to cover that.
And the trees are expected next week.
Okay.
So, an ordinance to amend the official city map to dissolve the remaining portion of Paper Hayward Street measuring 60 feet by 103 feet between Paddock Street and John Street.
I'll move that.
Second it.
Any discussion? Kathy, would you call the roll?
Counselor Dilaba,
Yes.
Counselor Fisher,
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy,
Yes.
Counselor Powers,
Yes.
Counselor Reish,
Yes.
Counselor Scamperly,
Yes.
Mayor Skelly,
Yes.
approved.
Our next item of business will be read by City Manager Stephen Jelly.
A resolution to call for a special city council meeting on Wednesday, May 19th, 2021 at 6 PM at City Hall Council Chambers. Be it resolved, there will be a special city council meeting held on Wednesday, May 19th, 2021, 6 PM City Hall Council Chambers on the following topic. So, council, we've got a couple issues for that. I want to amend the resolution you've got in front of you to call for the public hearing regarding an ordinance to offer city-owned property for sale at public auction, which is the ordinance we just passed a second ago to sell. And an ordinance to offer the city property for sale at public auction. So I'm adding that to the call for special meeting.
I'll make a motion to introduce that.
I'll second it.
You know what, I'm not available that day, so I just wanted, if it's, meetings at 5, I can make it. If it's later than that, I have, previous obligation at 6:30 that I have to attend to.
We need 6 votes to sell the property that night.
This is property that we acquired on tax. So we
On one of the resolutions, I believe you will, sir.
need 5.
Am I correct, Andrea? Because the license for the Dubisky, so you will require 6 on one
Yeah.
item evening.
Selling the property don't, but the lease will need to have 6 votes.
So we need 6 votes for this.
Mhm.
I can make 5. Everybody else wants to move to 5.
Yeah, I coach. I can't let 18 kids down. I wasn't planning on it, or I would have moved
Yeah.
things around prior to that.
Is everyone good with 5?
That's
Even
fine.
if it's the first thing on the agenda, I can come. I have no issue voting, and then if it gets lengthy, I can just step out, but I just wanted to make sure that.
I do too.
Okay, so if we can do
Good.
5.
Okay, yeah.
Kathy? Put that in
Okay.
amendment.
So
So for the record, the motion to amend will be to add the items that the city manager has requested and to change the time to 5 PM. We'll do it in one motion to amend. Am I correct?
Yep.
Okay, and the motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Counselor Scamperly.
Yes.
Okay. So this would be a roll call to amend.
Yes.
Counselor Fisher,
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy,
Yes.
Counselor Powers,
Yes.
Counselor Reish,
Yes.
Counselor Scamperly,
Yes.
Mayor Skelly,
Yes.
Counselor Dilaba,
Yes.
approved.
So are we going to discuss the resolution now? Okay. So the only thing I'm wondering, so this is a public hearing I see on the community development plan as a part of this. Is that correct?
So that'll be at that meeting, Counselor, that what we'll be doing at that meeting is calling for a public hearing on the community draft development.
Oh, okay.
And then the second, same thing, it's,
We're doing that tonight, so there will actually be a public hearing on the 19th on the community development plan.
I'm sorry, that will be the public hearing. We're calling for it tonight. We're doing it that night.
Would it be possible to reverse them to do the municipal property first in case the public hearing on community development goes long? If I step out, I'll still be able to get my vote. Is that something we can do?
As long as there's a majority of council that wishes to do that, we can certainly do that.
Is that okay with everybody?
That's
Fine
fine.
with me.
I just did the public hearing on the Gabisky first, just in case the community development plan, sometimes things go lengthy. I don't want to have to leave prior. Thank you.
So is this going to be the only public hearing for the public?
We've already had, we introduced it, we accepted it, we referred it to the planning board. The planning board met to discuss it. They held 2 public hearings. We're now calling for a public hearing. So yes, there's been 3 or 4 so far. And yeah,
Can we have the planning board present to the council?
yeah, Andrea will do that. There was 4 recommendations out of that, and Andrea will do that at the public hearing or tonight, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the past, when we've done things like this too, we've had like more of an open type forum, question and answer, welcome the public on different sections. It's a pretty long plan. And so I think it would be beneficial to do something like that, to actually have an open session where the public can come and we can address specific sections and talk about the future and get public input. Not to knock the plan by any means, but I just think I'd like to see a little bit more public participation, if you would, in dealing with different sections of it.
Well, we've had a lot of public hearings, public meetings. And certainly if it gets too laborious or that public hearing, you know, there's a lot of people, then we can entertain that at that time, Dan, if we feel like there's a need to focus on one area or the other.
I think also, Council, this was the reason we scheduled it this way. These other items are really some administrative things. I'm just trying to move along to keep things going. But the intent was to have it at a meeting that we were unencumbered by another topic. So there was opportunity for people to speak.
How many people showed up at the planning board for the public hearing?
Just a point of clarification, they were not public hearings, which there is a difference. So they were public meetings, but there was no legal notice. They were a public meeting. There were 2 public meetings.
We did give notice though, right? We were supposed to put ads in the paper.
There's no ads that are required for those meetings. Those are regular meetings, so they are posted as a public meeting on the city's website.
Right.
Only one of those was a regular meeting. One of those was a special meeting.
Yeah.
So there is no
But it was a
legal
public
notice
meeting for
requirement.
input from the public on the community development plan, and we held 2 of them. We kind of called them visioning meetings.
Yeah, I just want to be clear, Counselor, that they were public meetings and
Right.
not public
No,
hearings.
it wasn't an official
Okay,
public hearing.
good.
That's what
We're
this
good.
is for.
Andrew, it's not-
That's what
We're good.
this is for.
We're good. Move along.
So I'd just like to see something maybe a little bit less formal. We've done things before at like the Dubisky Center and talk about different sections of the city, the waterfront, all the things that are contained in that community development plan. And we got some great input from citizens, and I think it would be a good opportunity, a nice relaxing atmosphere, maybe some beverages for people, water or whatever, and talk about what we're envisioning here and things like that. To me, I mean, if you're going to have a plan and it's a community plan on the future, then we should invite the community to have as much input as possible.
That's what we're doing.
Okay, good. Let's do
You
that.
bring the drinks.
Let's do that. Well,
Well then, but just for clarification, there hasn't been any public hearings, just public meetings regarding the community development plan. And again, not just to piggyback Dan and no opposition to the plan in any way, shape or form. It is quite lengthy and there's quite a bit to go over. And I don't know if a special meeting, recognizing that one of our counselors may not be able to make it. I mean, could we possibly look at another date? Obviously this is vital information and the future of our community. And I think it, possibly look at maybe another date so that we can all be present. I mean, I'm available the 19th, but Councilor Kennedy's not. I mean, could we look at something, maybe another date?
Sure.
I think this will be fine. And if there's a need for another one, we can have another meeting.
Is there a reason why it has to be on the 19th? I have full availability the day before that on the 18th. Is there a certain amount of posting days that has to be? Can we just move it up a day?
18th is fine by me.
Because I don't have any obligations where I would have to leave early that day.
18th is Monday, correct?
It's a Tuesday,
Oh, it is. Okay.
the day after tax day.
Yeah, I think I'm.
That'd be fine. As long as, are you here? Whatever makes everybody comfortable.
Well, it's not about being comfortable. It's just about trying to finagle a lot of schedules.
18th is.
I think in terms of what I'm looking at, this is a nice start. It's a nice to hear from the public, but I'm thinking more of a workshop type of affair, a forum, if you will, where people can come and chat and, we present different sections, like I said, over and over again. This is, like Mike said, this is the future of our city here. This is going to last a long time. And I don't want to take it lightly. I think the community deserves to have plenty of opportunity for input.
The 18th is fine. And if we need to hold another meeting, we can do that.
Why not?
You want to have it at 6 on the 18th?
I'm fine with 6 on the 18th. I don't have any obligations. It's just Wednesdays are just a really bad day.
So would that be another amendment or do we vote on the first one?
Well, you have a couple options, Counselor. Someone can amend the motion that was already put forward, or we could do another motion to amend simply to change the date, whatever council prefers.
Yeah, do.
Mike, are you available on Tuesday?
The 18th, yes, I can be.
Let's just do amendment, change the date.
So for the record, the mayor is amending his motion to amend, and now the meeting will be held on the 18th. It will include the items that the city manager also suggested and recommended that council had approved, and the time will be 6 p.m.?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
I think 6 is better for the public anyways.
okay, and that motion would be seconded by Councilor Scamperly?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
One more question before we vote on it. Does a certain amount of time have to pass to sell this property? Is that why the 19th was picked? So would the 18th prohibit? Is there like a 10-day?
No, I mean, we need to give proper notice, but excuse me, we picked the date. It's not there's no first there. We couldn't, just the sequence, you couldn't do it tonight.
I just didn't want to vote on it and say,
No.
we gotta change the date.
This original meeting was just for the community development plan, but put these things on here because I thought we could move them through quickly and keep it going. I want to get the lease and the Dubisky going, and same with this here. There's, we've been doing this property for a while. I'm ready just to get it done with.
Right. Sounds good.
Okay, are we ready for a vote? Kathy, call the roll.
So this would be the rest, thank you, and this would be as amended. Councilor Kennedy?
Yes.
Councilor Powers?
Yes.
Councilor Reish?
Yes.
Councilor Scamperly?
Yes.
Mayor Skelly?
Yes.
Councilor Dilaba?
Yes.
Councilor Fisher?
Yes.
Approved.
Our next item of business will be read by Deputy Mayor John Reish.
comments on the draft community development?
So that vote wasn't just for the amendment, that was for the whole resolution as amended?
That was the call for the special meeting to change the date, to change the time, and to add the other items that the city manager has suggested. Now, each one of those public hearings that will now be included in the special meeting all have to have a resolution calling for the special meeting. And I was just mentioning to the city manager, Councilor Reish, if you're going to introduce this, if you would change the date to the new date and time, then we can avoid having to make motions to amend and so forth. If you change it while you introduce it.
Yep. So this is a resolution calling for a public hearing to accept further comments on the city's draft community development plan. Whereas the city council voted on March 24th to accept the draft community development plan and to refer it to the planning board for review and comment. And the planning board held 2 public input sessions on the plan and has completed its review of this document. And whereas the city council is desirous of receiving public comment prior to its final consideration of the community development plan, now therefore be it resolved that the city council hereby calls for a public hearing on the draft community development plan to be held on May 18th, 2021 at 5 p.m. at city council chambers, and that the city clerk will give notice of the public hearing in the city's official newspaper. I move that.
You move that?
Counselor,
I'll second.
just 6 p.m. We're staying with 6.
6 p.m., sorry, thank you.
6 p.m. I'll second that.
Thank you.
Discussion, anyone?
So the only discussion is the second whereas the planning board actually did not have 2 public input sessions. The public did not. have a
Yes,
chance
we
to-
did. It's a technicality where Andrea is referring to it as a public hearing versus they were public input sessions.
So
Got to speak.
I'd like to see some minutes on what the public had to say.
I think we received 1 letter and then nobody attended.
I saw that, it was a letter.
Yeah.
But, so.
And then the planning board reviewed it and they have 4 recommendations, which we can either accept or, the document as it is or amend it.
I didn't see those.
No, that's what the meeting's for.
Okay. So, but just to clarify, Andrea stated there was no public input.
No,
I just said that there was no public hearing. They were public meetings.
Yes.
They just have a different notification. That's it. They were public meetings. And you will get the minutes
Okay.
and the summary for both of them prior to your meeting on the 18th.
Okay.
At 6 p.m.
With the second whereas, as Dan mentioned, it says completed its review of this document. We'll hear from the planning board and their recommendations for it as well, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Kathy, would you call the roll?
Councilor Powers,
Yes.
Councilor Reish,
Yes.
Councilor Scamperly,
Yes.
Mayor Skelly,
Yes.
Councilor Dilaba,
Yes.
Councilor Fisher,
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy,
Yes.
approved.
Our next item of business will be read by Director of Planning and Development, Andrea Smith.
So this too will have a minor change from what you all have in front of you. A resolution calling for a public hearing and public notice regarding an ordinance to license municipal property at the Dubisky Visitor Center to Matthew Rose.
I'll move that.
I'll second that.
So just for the record, it will be on the 18th of May at 6 p.m.
Discussion? I'm very happy to see this. I brought this up a year ago and it's nice to see it happening. So hopefully he does well there and hopefully it's great for I think it's going to be very great for the community to go down there and enjoy themselves. So, anyone else? Kathy, would you call the
I
roll?
just have a question.
Yeah.
I didn't see where there was I saw what he was willing to pay, but I didn't see the actual cost that the city is charging.
yeah, so we've had some discussion about it. I wanted to get through the public hearing, get the public comments, and then Andrea and I have got some courses of action to send you on how this could work. We originally were thinking we'd do it similar to the way it's been done in the past, to be a 6-month lease. this individual is looking perhaps for a little longer term in the year, depending on how things go, maybe keep it open year round. So we'll send you the courses of action between now and the public hearing being over, so you can look at what we're addressing. This was our only proposal. So there's been some work to try to determine how things can fit. We're finalizing some things as far as the equipment lease goes and how that fits in. So it's been a little bit of a work in progress.
Inside the lease, I think it's important to make sure that the equipment is cleaned and maintained and things like that. Maybe have some inspection time.
Absolutely.
Not that I don't trust the individual or anything like that, just as a standard policy.
No, it's one of our discussions. Ideally we'd be renting the space and the vendor would be providing their own equipment. But since we've got it full up with equipment in there, it's one of the considerations. So we're getting everything clean, making sure it's in perfect working order, clean. So we've got a baseline to start from when we turn it over.
Yep, we've been through this.
Yep.
And this was a result of an RFP, and this is the only response that we received.
That's correct.
Kathy, would you call the roll?
Counselor Reese,
Yes.
Counselor Scamperly,
Yes.
Mayor Skelly,
Yes.
Counselor Dilaba,
Yes.
Counselor Fisher,
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy,
Yes.
Counselor Powers,
Yes.
approved.
Our next item of business will again be read by Director of Planning and Development, Andrea Smith.
The resolution to approve the sale of surplus property following the May 4th, 2021 surplus property auction. So resolution to approve the sale of surplus city-owned
I'll
property.
move this.
I'd like
Sorry.
to read it into the record.
You got it. Sorry.
Just because the sale of property has a lot of legal things about it, so I
Okay.
think it's in everybody's interest to read the entire resolution. So
Got it.
whereas the city of Ogdensburg has acquired the following parcels in accordance with property tax sale foreclosure proceedings, and whereas city staff has reviewed the parcels and find no conflict with the proposed sale, having no infrastructure or known easements of public benefit. And whereas said parcels have been declared surplus by the city council on April 12th, 2021, and whereas all property sold by the city of Ogdensburg is as is and where is by quitclaim deed, the city makes no warranty as to clear title or condition. And whereas all property within the city of Ogdensburg is subject to the provisions and enforcement of Chapter 97, Section 13, property maintenance. And whereas sale of surplus property promotes the return of underutilized property to the tax roll for the greater public benefit in keeping with comprehensive planning goals. Now therefore be it resolved that the city council approves the following sales. Tax map number 59.029-1-24, 315 Madison Avenue. This is the non-conforming parcel in the city's mobile home zoning district, being 43 feet by 110 feet. The minimum bid established by council was $500. The sale price was $500. The buyer is Addison J. Barr. Tax map number 48.078-4-36. This is a vacant parcel on New York Avenue having no 911 address. This is a conforming parcel in the city's residential business district, being 70 feet by 166 feet. The minimum price established by council was $1,500. The sale price was $1,500 and the buyer is 315 Rentals LLC. Tax map number 59.022-4-4, 24 Rensselaer Avenue. This is a parcel located in the city's moderate density residential zoning district. It is a conforming lot, being 56 by 229 feet. The minimum bid was $500. The sale price was $500 and the buyer was 315 Rentals LLC. Tax map number 48.071-6-24, 914 Green Street. This is a non-conforming parcel in the city's moderate density residential zoning district, being 31 feet by 42 feet. The minimum bid established by council was $500. The sale price was $500 and the buyer was Paul P. Cutway. Tax map parcel 48.058-5-7. This is a vacant parcel on Paper Dearborn Street. This is a non-conforming parcel in the city's single-family residential zoning district, having no developed street frontage, being 125 feet by 132 feet. The minimum price was $1,000. The sale price was $1,000, and the buyer was Philip Jaques. Tax map parcel 48.080-4-12, located at 1004 Clark Street. This is the conforming parcel in the city's business zoning district, being 78 feet by 141 feet. There is remaining debris on this property, which shall be removed in a reasonable time frame. The minimum purchase price was $1,000. The sale price was $1,000, and the buyer was Gerald Mack. Tax map number 58.022-4-12, 308 Lake Street. This is a non-conforming parcel in the city's residential business zoning district, being 40 by 100 feet. The minimum purchase price was $1,000, and the sale price was $1,250. The buyer was Charles Wilkinson. Tax map number 48.071-6-47, 323 Proctor Lane. This is a non-conforming parcel in the city's moderate density residential zoning district, being 25 feet by 46 feet. The minimum purchase price established by council was $500. The sale price was $500. The buyer is Eric Farrand. And the last parcel is tax map number 48.071-6-46, 325 Proctor Lane. This is a non-conforming parcel in the city's moderate density residential zoning district, being 25 feet by 46 feet. The minimum bid established by council was $500. The sale price was $500, and the buyer was Eric Farrand. Be it further resolved, said listed buyers are fiscally responsible for all applicable St. Lawrence County filing fees, and be it further resolved that the sale of said city-owned real property shall be subject to review and approval by the city attorney.
I'll move this. I'll second that. Discussion? I'm glad to see us unloading properties.
Just, it says that it requires 6 affirmative votes to approve, but it's my understanding we have an opinion from the city attorney that you looked into, and that law pertains to like municipal parks and things. It's under,
Where are you seeing that, John?
what's that?
Where are you seeing that?
Maybe it was the previous one. How many votes are required for?
This is just a majority. This is property received as part of a tax foreclosure process, so it doesn't.
As long as everybody's clear on that.
Different than if we're auctioning something or selling something that the city owns, City Hall.
Kathy, would you call the roll, please?
Counselor Scamperly,
Yes.
Mayor Skelly,
Yes.
Counselor Dilaba,
Yes.
Counselor Fisher,
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy,
Yes.
Counselor Powers,
Yes.
Counselor Reese,
Yes.
approved.
And this brings us to old business, and we will begin with City Manager Stephen Jelly.
Andrea, how many properties surplus list? Are we 12, 13 approximately?
We had 21 parcels. 502 King Street was my oversight, and it got left off of the list by nothing other than my omission by error. So we sold 9 of them. So there's 11 left.
So you made a pretty good dent in that list. We're going to move forward with paralleling the county's auction. We got some information on that today, just trying to see if that'll work. But hopefully before the end of the year, we've cleaned up all the surplus property issues that have been ours for a while. So not obviously we're getting ready to do tax sale certificates for the coming year. But as far as all the stuff that's been encumbered on this list, I just wanted council to know what's remaining. We're working on those all the time.
There are, I think, 3 others that have not been declared surplus, mostly because they are properties that either have, we're working through some process with them. So there are 3 in addition to those 11.
And those 3, that would include the one across from the former Holiday Inn.
It doesn't include any of our properties like the Diamond National Shade Roller, 30 Main Street, 17 Main Street, or 420 Lafayette Street. Those are all properties that either have existing contamination, potential contamination, or that have an ongoing grant associated with them, or a payback of a grant associated with them. So those are properties that really have not been declared surplus by the council.
On the way, though.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Nothing significant on the grants to updates. Andrew and I are working again today on the Northern Border Regional deadline that's coming. I do want to prepare council. We're trying to work within the realm of getting an exception. We have a Northern Border Regional grant already active to bring water down to the Diamond National property. We have not expended the percentage of that they would like us to before applying for another grant. We are going to ask for an exemption because of some difficulty we've had coordinating with the state to begin that work to bring the water line to the road. But I just wanted to update you on that. And we are looking forward to submitting to USDA on these separate sewer lift station pump projects. City Beach update in your packet tonight.
I just had some questions.
I'm sorry, Councilor.
In regard to grants.
Yep.
So you are going to put in for a USDA grant for one of the add-ons to the,
We will most likely submit them all. We'll start with the Main Street pump station because it's the most expensive and the largest project.
is there any response from the EPA grant application for 212 Ford Street?
Not yet. Expecting response any day, but nothing yet.
And I noted that there's a special round of community development block grant funding out there that's a big chunk of money that the federal government appropriated for COVID. I mean, it was COVID money. I don't think it has to be used for COVID. And I saw Canton had a public hearing on that. And I know we have one grant that is, I guess it's been submitted, but we should take a look at that too.
We'll look at it again. There are a lot of there's a lot of particulars about those. Some things we fit into, some things we didn't. But you recall we did do a public hearing and council approved us to apply for a CDBG grant, ultimately to get a large chunk of money to the land bank to continue their program. So, but I'll look at it again. All the funding is becoming a little more clear on some of these programs that have been talked about, really weren't available to recently. Just about an hour before closing time today, maybe 4:10 or 4:15, I got email from Senator Schumer's office on some of the particulars being released on the American Relief Act money, the 1.14 million that we would be getting. So we'll be getting more information soon, but that's not yet been released either. But I'll run the CDBG stuff again.
Thank you, Steve.
City Beach update. Councilors, again, just before the start of the meeting, the OBPA followed through as they told us they would and sent us back what they call a counter proposal. I've read this quickly, so I think everybody will want to take a look at it, but there were very few changes to it. Most of them are what I consider small clarifications and things like signage. They've clarified what they would like for insurance limits, which pretty well parallels what our research told us happens at other beaches, 1 million occurrence with a 3 million total. So, so for all intents and purposes, the port has accepted our request. Obviously, we've got a lot of staff work and things to do to put together the final plan, but I hope before our special meeting, I'll at least have the large questions to bring to you to present as far as what we're looking at for cost, staffing, execution plans, things like that. Tomorrow morning, first thing we'll be doing is getting with the health department. That really is the oversight agency. The DEC has very little, if no play in this at all, other than information only. The health department is the approval authority. We've had good communication, had a good phone call with their staff early last week about this. So they're standing by knowing that this was our next hurdle to get over as far as working with the landowner to get the lease agreement. So what I'm looking for tonight, if council had a chance to look at this, is just to have your approval when all the staff work is done and things to be able to move forward with this lease. I'd like to be able to let the Bridge and Port Authority know that we're good with it as written. Again, there's very little in here. It was a lot of it was what I consider clerical language to fit their legal review. No surprises. $3,000 ultimately is our cost, or $1,000 of it's our security deposit, $1,000 for utilities, and then ultimately $1,000 for the monthly rent, $250 a month for the 4 months. So I think it's a fair proposal for what we want. And I don't appreciate the Bridge and Port Authority entertaining us last week. The mayor, the deputy mayor, and myself addressed the Port Authority board. I think we had some good discussion about this, and I'm happy to see that they returned it with a workable solution for us. The mayor, Councilor Reach, have any other comments on the meeting?
I thought it was a very productive and cordial meeting. We talked about the community development plan and our goals. This is one of them. I sincerely appreciate their willingness to give us something that I think is acceptable to the council, and I'd make a motion under new business to give you the authority to sign that pending, the approvals that we need.
I'll second that, and I'd also like to extend my appreciation to the Bridge and Port for this.
I just have a question. What are we doing for handicap accessibility to make sure it's ADA compliant?
Yeah, excuse me. We're gonna have to work on some way to be able to effectively help people get.
So it will be handicap accessible.
I don't know that for sure. I mean, we're certainly gonna have to work on it. I mean, there's a pretty steep
And that's
incline
what
there.
my concern is, like, I've had a couple of people who have children with developmental disabilities, and they want to ensure that their children are going to be able, that was one of their concerns. So I just said that I would mention it and make sure that was going to be put also on the forefront to make sure it's available for everyone.
It is. We had lengthy discussion at the meeting about how we provide safe environment for everybody, how we manage, positive accountability. We'll most likely establish a tagging system. So we have an idea, everybody will have a tag in, tag out. So that was, I'd say it was probably the center of the discussion at the Port Authority meeting was just that, ensuring safety for everybody. I mean, I think everybody sees this as a positive venue, something that people, will really enjoy.
No, I do too. Like,
yeah,
I'm not against, I'm just,
Nope, the site,
it's a valid concern.
it is. The site does have some train issues getting there that we just got to work. I mean, it was a beach for a long time. I think we can get it back to that, but we'll get over there now that we've got this affirmation from them and start to work through each of the particular issues.
When we come back on the 18th, we have a plan on how to make that ADA compliant. Okay.
So my question with the phrase you keep using with we, going forward, are we going to be responsible for transforming that lot that hasn't been used into a viable city beach with city resources? Or will we be working in conjunction with the Bridge and Port Authority?
No, Councilor, we signed up to all the costs borne for making it a beach, if you will be borne by the city. So the land itself on the way down. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, just we've done some initial survey work. I think the bulk of the work that I see is right on the beach area itself, getting it raked, cleaned up, getting all the debris off it, potentially moving some of the trees that have grown in back, so we've got a little bit wider area for sand. Again, getting out into the water as far as the feet can touch and being able to rake and get things down. So there'll be a pretty significant amount of groundwork to get it prepared. So
will that all be handled by DPW?
Absolutely.
You got a ballpark figure as to what you're looking at so far?
I'll be better prepared, Councilor, at the next meeting. We've done some initial work, but we'll be better prepared to talk everything from facilities to staffing to safety plan, et cetera, at the special council meeting.
I'm just curious, are we going to use like porta potties down there for restroom facilities?
So we're going to look, the plan would be to use the bathroom facility that's there.
Okay.
If we can make that usable and welcoming and friendly enough, then we'll use the facility that's there. They've kept it in working order and repair. They'll let the public kind of come and go. But if not, if we had to use porta potties, that would be our default plan. No plan to run the concession stand. I guess we're keeping it basic, beach and potty.
I asked about those pipes. Did we figure out where those pipes are coming from?
Yeah, we figured out most of them on maps. One of the things Shane and I will be able to do now is with some level of freedom, get down there, look, identify everything, mark it what we think it is versus what's on the map, talk to the Bridge and Port Authority. But I think we'll have an answer to what every pipe is. You're seeing with the lower water level, you're able to see things you wouldn't normally see this time of year because the water is much higher. But I think we've got everything identified where sewer outfalls are, excuse me, in relation, which meet the distances that required at the minimum. I think the rest of what you're seeing is stormwater.
How wide is the beach going to be? I went down the other day to kind of check it out, and I was just anticipating how wide, by how deep are we going to go? Like, how much sand are we anticipating, like from the water level back, and how wide are we anticipating on going?
Yeah, again, I'll have a better answer for you the last time we were there, the water level was way low.
Yeah,
so I'm
curious with the
Yeah, and we want to go a little wider. Some of that undergrowth, I think we can get out of there without a lot of effort. So we can, we can get in there 20 or 30 feet on each side for actual beachfront. So.
I think
It's fair to say that you've got quite a bit of time and resource wrapped up in this already, eh?
Yeah, I feel it, Council, like we did the staff and recon work to be able to, keep us moving forward without the concept being, being something that we thought internally we couldn't do. So I would say we've done all the initial preliminaries. I think starting tomorrow we'll be deep diving on all the topics. In particular, the health department will have quite a checklist for us to go through. So we'll need to get to work on that right away. But they've really identified already the things on the checklist that they'll be looking for immediately, and then the things that they already know, like they already know water quality and what the water purity looks like and things like that. So they're not going to require us to do things they already have information on. So they've been quite helpful. But yep, we've been engaged on it. I feel like everything that was appropriate that we could do at this point before the Bridge and Port Authority said yay.
We're gonna have a public hearing on this. I'd like to hear from the public before I vote on it. I've heard from one person, that was tonight. And basically that's it. I mean, I'm not opposed to a beach. I heard a very good point tonight that here we are reducing our EMT service and police and we're gonna spend, I don't know how much money on a beach. And so I'd like to hear from the public. I think it's important that we do this before I vote on actually doing this. I don't have any problem hearing from the Board of Health and seeing what they have to say and giving us a ballpark figure. And that's where I'm going to stand on this. So.
All the comments that I've heard from the public, I've had different information out there and almost seems to be unanimous from the community. There are a few dissenters, but I mean, overall, it's incredibly popular proposition. And I think that's what we're elected for, to make these decisions. And so I'd like to move forward with giving Steve the authorization to sign and our more details to come out. I just don't want things to get slowed down at all. And I really don't foresee a lot of costs. I mean, the lease agreement for the land is only $3,000. You're talking however many truckloads of sand, which is generally pretty inexpensive stuff. The buoys, the lifeguard stations, I priced those out, and I really didn't write them down because they were relatively insignificant to me in terms of cost. So I think there's an awful lot of community support, and I just want to keep moving forward. I don't want to delay.
Yeah, we don't have that much time to delay. So
Well, with that being said, I don't disagree with Councilor Reach, and I fully support a beach. I had many a day on that beach myself. But going forward, with everything that we have going on, to try and rush this through, I think maybe, and I'm not looking to shelve it. Don't think that I am, but going forward, I think, going forward for next year, a stronger layout. And I know that it was an idea that came up late in the day, but all that aside, with everything that we've got going on, I'm a little genuinely concerned about the resources that are going into this at this point. And we haven't talked about the insurance aspect either. I know that there's some back and forth over the numbers. I think it's a little exorbitant myself, but we've got a liability to the public as well if we're going to produce this and on state authority property and be managed by city staff.
Yeah, their proposal came back with a much more reasonable liability insurance, $1 million, $3 million, which is pretty well standard. And
same as what we have.
Yeah, same as what we have.
No additional insurance.
Did we get that? Was that one of the emails that came in tonight?
It's the one that came in late in the day. Yes. Yeah. And it's in the lease that way. I really view this, Mike, as like, kind of a trial run if we are successful. And we'll see how it goes. Maybe it won't be popular. Maybe people won't go. But I just get a sense from the community that, people want to be able to swim in the river And we'll do it as a trial run this year. And then, if the council thinks it's great and, we want to write some grants to improve bathrooms and that and keep going with it, maybe we look at buying it from the authority. I don't know.
Or other.
Or a different property that's maybe better, but going with a different property is a much more lengthy, probably 2 or 3 year process. And I just want to give people an opportunity to swim in the river that can't do that presently.
I just have another question. I know I saw that we posted lifeguards again. Are we not getting adequate staffing for the lifeguards and summer help? I just saw that posting come out again, my text.
Yeah, we're for sure not there yet with the number we need to do the pool and this. Excuse me, we're redoing the re-advertisements. We've asked about getting a course so we can get folks trained that don't already have the certification. So I think like we talked last meeting, recruitment this summer is, it's going to be tough on everything.
That's, I guess, my concern, because the beach will be on the weekend, so I didn't know if we were going to close the pool to lifeguards beach if we don't have adequate staffing. Is there a plan? That's my plan.
Yeah, I think our plan was at the moment, and the Bridgeport didn't ask for any day restrictions. So I mean, I think
So the beach might be open more than just weekends?
it could be, but I mean, I would say at this point, from everything I've seen so far, the staffing is going to be our limiter, depending on what we end up with total staffing it. So, yep.
Will the beach be secured when it's not in use?
No more than it is now.
No more than it is now.
No. I mean, I don't. I think we'll look to make sure it's cleaned up and picked up. But I think one of the things they asked for was that, we asked the police to step up the patrols and just kind of keep an eye on it so it doesn't become, one of the hangout spots. But it's really I'm not really sure how we would technically secure it without completely fencing it off or something. Yeah. But we're cognizant that once it's used, that perhaps people will think about going back there at a later point. So not that it couldn't be happening now.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I was just.
Yeah.
You start talking about things and people look at them.
I think it'd be better for us to, do the hybrid where, the pool's open or the beach is open, but some people feel other ways. So we'll just have to figure it out as we go along. And I mean, if one of them is not handicapped accessible, the other one is, and maybe we'll have to keep that one open for people to swim. That's a solution there too.
So
So I'd like to see a beach, but I just personally, I think tonight is premature to vote yes on this. In terms of, go ahead and vote on it.
I think the motion's strictly to give him authorization to sign with the Port Authority contingent upon the Department of Health
Right.
okay to do it. So
Sure.
it's really not,
keep things
it's
moving.
not like you're voting to do, you vote to make it so the health department will take it for real too.
I don't think we need
And-
to sign this to get the health department's approval.
Pardon?
I don't think we need to sign this to get the health department's approval.
No, he needs authorization though to sign it, so he can tell the health department that he has site control and can move forward.
It would really be best. It would be best, Counselor, if we did, and I think to alleviate your concerns, we will have to get that approval from the health department. We don't have a specific line item in the budget approved for this, so you'll get another opportunity to appropriate, approve the money that we're going to do. So this is really just letting me move forward, letting everyone know we have the authority to keep moving through this process. But you'll really have a couple more levels of approval when you come down to it, in particular with the money, because I'll have to come back to you with what the cost, and we'll have to reappropriate money from some line to be able to cover this. So you'll really have a couple more opportunities, I think, to do what you're asking about now.
And plus, the Port Authority moved pretty quick from your meeting the other day to put this lease agreement together and have it here for tonight. So I think, and
Well, recognizing that, I'm not all that comfortable putting the cart before the horse either. Just simply based off of the fact that, and to piggyback what Councilor Scamperly said, there's no reason why we can't call a special meeting for a public hearing to hear from the public on it.
How many days do you need to call for a public hearing? Is it 7?
7.
There's different allocations, but 7 is the ideal. That is the norm. You could do some on 5, you can do some on 10, but 7 is.
Can we just tack on if we're doing that meeting on the 18th, can we just tack a public hearing onto that? Just add it to that agenda? I mean, or at least offer a public comment I noticed it doesn't, on that special meeting, it doesn't allow for public comment. Can we just add public comment to that meeting?
I think the public hearing will be when people show up at the beach. You know, we do this, and that's when you'll know if it's successful, if people go to it. And if they don't, then we won't do it again. But
I'm not, like I said, I'm not against it. I'm just saying if we're already gonna be here on the 18th, at least put public comment on the agenda. And then if people want to come and speak about it, they can.
The effective date is the 17th, and we're trying to get him working with the Department of Health, and we can't have any access to the land until we actually have a lease, and I don't want it to be contingent on, you know, a meeting 2 weeks from now or 4 weeks from now. So I'd like to move forward with it tonight, just to give him the authorization to do that, and
we will.
Steve will come back with a budget and equipment list and everything that we need for
So
our next.
nothing will be, so this will be, so you going forward will purely be to work with the Palm Out, but this is not a formal acceptance of a beach.
No, I would say no. I mean, at this point, what this will do is this will tell the Bridge and Port Authority, we're prepared to sign. Let's.
So I'm just not comfortable authorizing you to do anything until I find out about handicap accessibility and things like that. So
Yeah, this is,
I guess
so
that
this is,
would be my hang up, is more so.
so this is just for the lease of the property. Again, you'll have a couple other opportunities as we talk about the plan and money, all those kinds of
I
things.
just think before we
And the lease for them being executed is contingent upon us getting approval and council ultimately approving the money. So I think for a bunch of reasons, as far as negotiating, demonstrating to the Department of Health we have authority, getting over on the land, I just think it's just smart business for us to say, okay, we're doing this. I can certainly make clear with the port, even if we have to pay this month's rent, and we end up not doing it, fine. I mean, so we're out $250, but I think to be able to set everybody's comfort zone that we're there, coming and going, we should have the lease agreement in place that we're going to do.
I'm not gonna vote for anything with a lease agreement without being able to vet the process, period. Regardless of what your negotiating prowess may be. I'm not in favor of that at all.
I think we need 5 for this tonight. So let's vote on it, see where it goes, and
Well, you gotta do this under new business. We're still under old business right now.
I think we have.
What is old business?
I think we have a resolution up. Don't we, Kathy?
You have a motion and a second on the table. So you can call for a vote. You will need 5 votes.
We need 5 votes. So
Could we move to new business, please?
We have not yet moved to new business.
However you want to do, it's fine by me, but I was just trying to address
vote
this
on
issue.
it.
You put the resolution forward under old business.
So Kathy, would you call the roll, please?
Could you please clarify what exactly we're voting on?
This is a resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into the lease agreement with the Bridge and Port Authority for the purpose of operating a beach on their land. And all the details are there. And just to summarize, the effective date is May 17th, but the actual term of the land rental would be June 1 to September 30th of this year, so 4 months. The lease amount is $250 a month or $1,000 at signing. $1,000 in any unanticipated cost is something that we offered them because there may be additional costs to them, and we wanted to address that concern. And $1,000 for any increased utility costs for a 4-month period. If you're operating water and bathrooms and that was reasonable. $1 million to $3 million in liability insurance. There's some other details.
I was reading, okay, I'm good.
There's some other details in here that, we're to address their concerns, we're gonna put up some signage in their parking areas where people can park, so it's clear that we're not interfering with their operations. And, you know, we take responsibility for the site and we pledged to them that we would keep it clean and in a decent condition, which we would want to do anyways, but,
Won't it be nice to say that we're not the only community without a beach? That'd be nice to say, you know, we're not the only ones without a beach. I'm going to join the beach club.
We can have a beach with all the i's dotted and the t's crossed. Nobody up there doesn't support a beach. Nobody up there is not in favor of a beach.
That's right.
Okay, let's vote on this, Captain, please.
Mayor Skelly,
Yes.
Counselor Dilaba,
Yes.
Counselor Fisher,
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy,
No, not until we have more information on cost and handicap accessibility.
Counselor Powers,
No.
Counselor Reish,
yes.
Counselor Scamperly,
No.
denied.
Okay. Now, is that all for old business? Does anyone else?
No,
have any?
I have one piece for, under the grant update. Where are we with the SAFER grant?
No status yet, Counselor. I checked this morning. The website still just shows us as received. No status yet on first level of approval.
Thank you.
Are we on new business or still old business?
That was
Old.
old business. Now we're on new business.
I just know we have a new newspaper coming to town and I know a lot of people are subscribing to the newspaper. I was wondering if it'd be possible to add that into a place where we do postings and when we do public announcements and things like that. I know we have the newspapers we use, but I just think that a lot of people are going to be getting that printed paper, so it would be nice to support that.
Yep. Oh, they made contact with us last week. I'm going to meet with them this week just to bring you back the particulars and just get the formal vote from council. That's how you want to handle it.
Perfect. I just think it's nice that we're actually gonna have a hometown newspaper again, so.
Absolutely.
We will begin with City Manager Stephen Jelly on our new business.
So council, I'd ask at this time for council to consider a resolution calling for a public hearing regarding an ordinance to offer city-owned property for sale at public auction. So, excuse me, what I'm asking you to do now is call for a public hearing at our special meeting on May 18th at 6 p.m. for the property that you just approved to dissolve on Hayward Street. So we'll have the public hearing to get public input to sell that or not.
I'll move that.
I'll second, that's fine.
Discussion? Kathy, would you call the roll?
Counselor Dilaba,
Yes.
Counselor Fisher,
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy,
Yes,
Counselor Powers,
Yes.
Counselor Reish,
Yes.
Counselor Scamperly,
Yes.
Mayor Skelly,
Yes.
approved.
Anyone have any items for discussion? New business?
Yeah, I do, a couple. One, I'd like to acknowledge Justin and Misty Fischel for revamping a small part of Ogdensburg on the corner of Patterson and Ford Street. They've taken an old dwelling, an old grocery store, a corner mom and pop store, and have turned it into an operating business, printing business and fabrication business. And many of the times that I've been out on my walks in the community, I've attempted to stop by to see them, but it's kind of a hit and miss. But I commend Mr. and Mrs. Fischel for investing in the city of Ogdensburg on the corner of Ford and Patterson. And I wish them nothing but success. And my other piece is one to do with the workplace violence investigations that were completed and sent back. Two questions. One is, why is it foilable information for individuals who have filed the complaints to receive the final investigation, and they are prompted to file a FOIL to get that information? And secondly, where were these investigations completed and where were they sent to?
Answer your questions in reverse, I guess. They were all completed by me in accordance with the procedures set out in the city charter. All the information has been sent to council. As far as foils go, we handle all requests for information for documents and information for city business through the FOIL process. It's a standard process we use for everything, and we're going to continue that. We'll continue with that process.
That's it for me.
I have one, Mayor. I don't know if this has been brought to city council yet or not. I think it has. There's a name on the Persian Gulf Monument in Drew Park that's misspelled of a veteran. Do you have that?
I do. I've got to get the middle initial changed. Excuse me. I got to follow up with Ferraris to see if they can help us fill it in and rechange the initial.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's all for me.
Items for discussion, Director of Planning and Development, Andrea Smith, will provide an update on the 2021 CGSW series.
This is just to let council and the public know that the Passagashi Duathlon Series will once again be going this year. It takes place in June, July, and August. This year the dates are Wednesday, June 9th, Wednesday, July 14th, and Wednesday, August 11th, and it starts at 6 p.m. This is a 1.5 mile run on primarily the Maple City Trail, an 8-mile bike that starts at Hosmer's 54 East River Street, goes up New York Avenue, out Route 37, and down the arterial back to Hosmer's. And then it concludes with a 1.5 mile run, the same one from the beginning. Our police, fire, and New York State troopers, along with OVRS, will be providing the emergency response and oversight as they've done in the years past. This is the 9th annual running of this event, with the exception of last year because it was canceled due to COVID. So CGSW and the city are excited again to offer this along with some of their other sponsors. And so just wanted to let everybody know about that.
Thank you.
We do have it listed on our community and recreation calendar.
It's a pretty cool event. Brings people in from out of town, brings the community together, and I participate in it, I think pretty much every year, except for last year.
Great event. Yep.
Does anyone else have anything for discussion? And this brings us to citizen participation. At this time, anyone attending wants to speak, come down to the podium. You have 2 minutes.
Just a couple of things. First of all, the community development draft plan. I think that's very, very important for the community. Every other administration either comes up with different ideas or we change it. It's very, very important to the community. I just wish that we have more advertisement on these community meetings. Okay. And one was a special meeting. Sometimes you don't let us talk at special meetings. So I just think it's a great idea, and but I think it needs time for people to give you our comments. The other thing is, it was mentioned, Councilor Reese just said you're going to keep the beach open until September. I think you're wasting a whole month of money. With the lifeguard shortage, with the lifeguards going back to college, you're not going to be able to keep both facilities open, number one. And number two, the weather is not beach accessible. You close the pool down in I think it was last year at the end of August. So I think you got to rethink that. I just think it's a wasted month, and you're going to have a tough time really manning that down there. Andrew, did you say, you said we have some city land that's contaminated? Okay. Mr. Mayor, you criticize the Bridge and Port Authority for contaminated land and not doing anything. What are you doing right now about the contaminated land the city owns?
Working on it.
What are you doing?
Which land are you on?
The properties that the city planner said that were contaminated. Diamond National, up on Main Street. What are you doing?
Do you come to our meetings? We've had
We're working on it.
presentations.
I just want to comment from
Jade
him.
Roller.
Am I talking to you? No, I'm not.
Okay.
When I talk to you, you don't answer. I'm just asking him a simple question. What are we doing? We have a contract of people working on this? Are we waiting for grants? Are we using city money to do it? What are we doing to move that along? That's all I'm asking.
We're getting bids to clean up Shade Roller. Diamond is clean.
Mayor.
Shade Roller.
If you want, Andrew can give a quick overview of the properties.
Yeah, so I'm just curious of what we're doing. We're blaming other people. Let's take care of our own problems, as you say. Thank you.
We're fine. We're fine.
Oh, you sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Andrew. Anyone else wish to speak?
Workplace violence was brought up tonight. I just want to make sure that the incidents were reported to the police too, right? Because that's part of what our city charter is, since the city charter was brought up. So, and it also does say that the people who are claimants would be able to have copies of those reports. It seems like it doesn't say anything about needing to foil it. So I'd like to think that it wouldn't require a foil, which we know automatically in this case takes it to the very last day possible. About the beach, Mr. Reese said something about everybody he's talking to is pro beach. I actually like the idea of a beach, but I'm just not ready to commit the time and energies and monies from a city that is heading towards bankruptcy. I don't think that we're in any position in this short amount of time to commit $250 for a month or $3,000 for a lease or whatever. That money would be way better spent protecting our city because it's the drug situation is an existential threat. The beach would be great if it could happen down the line. We've got to take care of an existential threat. Library votes coming up on the 18th. It's an exciting time for us. We have an awesome library. Lots of history, a fantastic institution. Our mayor has publicly stated that he'll vote no, certainly his right. I'll publicly state I'm going to vote yes. But in voting no and saying that he's voting a no, it creates a slippery slope for him to be recommending then the Board of Trustees to put out for vote on council. He's already said he's voting no. And then also for Mr. Fisher, it seems like those two folks should abstain. For the record, I'm the one the mayor hung up on twice,
Margaret,
2 different times.
your alarm went off. Your time's up.
Oh, my time is up. I'm the one who was hung up on, and anybody wants to see me about it.
Thank you.
So I was just reading through the rules of anytime anyone wants to speak to council. There is nothing in the rules that says that we cannot talk about personnel. It does say personal and slanderous remarks. Of course, I didn't get personal. So possibly you're confusing the word personnel with personal, or are you just making up that rule? Because I did adhere to the rules.
It sounds awful personal to me.
Well, I don't really care what you think, so, yeah. So just for the record, I want it known that speaking about concerns about a certain employee is not forbidden in the rules. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else like to speak?
One quick question on the workplace violence complaints that Mr. Powers brought up. Mr. Jelly, one of those workplace violence was drafted against you. How can you be the investigating officer against a complaint that's been filed against you? No, I'm not going to give an answer, but I just want to get that on record, that you investigated a complaint that was filed against you. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else? If anyone's attending remotely, please use the raise hand feature.
The first individual is registered as Gregory McNamara, and I will unmute that individual now. It appears you are self-muted, sir. Mr. McNamara, it appears you are self-muted. There should be a button where you can unmute yourself on the device you're using. Not sure how you wish me to proceed, Mayor.
Is there anyone else?
I do not see any other hands raised.
So we'll move on. We do not have a need for executive session. At this time, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?